Dr. R. Today, I want to speak about college etiquette. I would like to talk about some things that I wish I knew in college. In college, sometimes I was worried. Am I making a good impression? Should I care if I make a good impression? And is there something I'm doing that is just outright embarrassing and I probably shouldn't do it? Well, that's what this video is about. College etiquette tips. Here are some tips that I think students should know when it comes to etiquette in college. There are many ways that you can communicate with your college professors and staff members, but the most appropriate way is to communicate with them in a way that they would like to be addressed. So, if you know your professor's name, that's the first step in order to addressing someone properly. Don't just go saying, "Hey Jeff," or "Hey Miss Brown." That may be the wrong salutation for them. So, if they introduce themselves as Jeff, then say, "May I call you Jeff?" And if they say yes, do that. If they say, "Hi, I'm Dr. Brown," then you should address them as Dr. Brown. That is respectful. Knowing your professor's name is the first step to building a relationship with your professor. One way that students communicate with professors a lot is through emails. Emails and maybe message boards, GroupMe, and if you have their phone number, text messages. But it's really important that while you may have this line of communication with your professor, that you use proper English. In an English-speaking country, especially in higher education, you're expected to know how to use proper syntax, capitalization, and punctuation in your communication. So, even if you're writing a text message, make sure you use appropriate uppercase letters, lowercase letters, punctuations, because that will show that you're an educated person and you're in the process of growing, not going backwards. And that will show that you're respectful in the academic setting when speaking to your professor who's an academic. It also shows that you're ready for the workforce because you wouldn't want to write a report or any other communication to your future boss with poor English, right? So practice makes perfect. Communicate with your professor and your classmates in a way that you would professionally. Now, your professors are there to help you if you have questions about assignments or how the class works, right? But it's really important that before you seek their help, you've done everything that you can do in order to be prepared and knowledgeable. So, if you have an assignment and you need clarification, be sure to actually try to read it on your own first and then go with questions about what you didn't understand. It doesn't reflect well when a student comes to a professor having not read the actual instructions and say, "I don't know how this assignment works. Can you explain it to me?" The professor who took time to carefully and clearly explain instructions now felt like they might have wasted their time and that you don't really care about the input that they tried to use to help you to understand in the first place. So it's most respectful if you read the assignment, then say, "I read the assignment, I understand this little bit or this much, but I don't understand this part." Now your professor would see your effort, they would respect your effort, and they would say, "Of course, let me help you get the rest of the way." They would do that regardless, but now they would just respect your effort a little bit more, and you'd have better rapport with them. Another thing that students may or may not know that their professors frown upon is when they ask for help at the end of the semester. Now, professors love to help you, but when it's at the end of the semester and there's just 2 or 3 days left, how much can we really do to help you? Ask for help, but ask early. If you did not do well on a quiz or a test or an assignment in the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of school, that's when you need to ask for help. That shows that you're a proactive student and you're able to assess your progress and try to change course as soon as possible. The longer you wait, it reflects on you that you did not care as much about your success. So bottom line, as soon as you get a grade that you don't want to see as your final grade, go and ask for help. Recommendation letters. Now this is a big one because a lot of students after they leave college or even during college, when they want someone to give them a recommendation for scholarships or internships or a new job or graduate school, it's really important to know what is in a recommendation letter. A recommendation letter is where, if your professor is writing it, they are going to talk about you and what they know about your work ethic and what they know about your citizenship in your school and your community, and you as a person, and your potential for success in whatever field you're trying to go into or internship in the future. So in order for your professor to know that about you, you have to show them those characteristics. And these characteristics aren't something you just show them in one day or a phone call, or you come to their door and say, "Hi, remember me? I'm a nice person. Could you write me a recommendation letter?" It doesn't work that way. Professors have a pretty good memory about who their students are. And in order to have that memory, those students have to take time to form a relationship with them so they can have something to talk about. Yes, you can go ahead and send your resume or your CV to your professor and say, "Hey, remember me? I got an A in your class. Here's my CV. Could you write a recommendation about me?" Well, yes, but that recommendation letter won't really stand out that much compared to one from a student who knew the professor well and the professor knew that student well also. So let's compare the two. A student who got good grades, let's say, that's a plus to get good grades in class, and maybe you're doing a lot of different activities, and then you let your professor know about that and say, "Could you write me a recommendation?" Now, what is your professor going to talk about in the recommendation? They're going to say, "Okay, this student was in my class, they got good grades, they're doing all these activities. I think they would be good because they seem to do good things in life." That's about all they could really say if they don't know you personally, right? But let's say that over the last 2 or 3 years, even if you took the class with a professor once, you've stopped by and said hello, you had a conversation here or there, you asked for some advice, you just made a relationship with the professor. Now, in addition to saying the student has good grades and they're involved in different clubs, the professor can now say they are also very nice, they like to plan for their future. They told me a story about how they were having trouble with something and this is how they got over it. Now it becomes more personal, and much more personal recommendations are often viewed on much more positively than ones that look like a resume. So in order to get that type of recommendation, you need to have a relationship with your professor that they can speak about you in this positive manner. And when you want a recommendation letter, please ask personally, maybe in an email or in person, for the letter of recommendation and tell them why you would like them to write it and what it's for. Don't just send an email link to submit one. That's not very nice. College is a place where you're going to grow, and you're going to meet a lot of people and have a lot of different experiences. Some will be challenging, some will be easy, some will be fun, some you'll hopefully not regret too much. But at the end of the day, you're in college to grow professionally and have a career that will hopefully be successful in the future. So take the time to communicate well, form relationships that are professional with those around you so that you can move into your future more developed than when you started college, with solid professional relationships that will last a lifetime.